just trying to vibe today. I'm just trying to vibe today. I'm just trying to.
That's
I mean, out of
favorite.
all of I've listened to so far, I mean, there may be a favorite down the road. You know, the biggest thing that comes to mind when I listen to that is the different ways people interact with the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have people that follow the path that everybody else follows, right? You ever been in the woods and you see a deer path,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, okay,
Yeah, I used to go hunting a lot, but
yeah, this is the path that nature takes. This is the path that everybody takes. And then you have people that just make their own goddamn path. They literally just trek on in the woods.
yeah, it's
right?
a couple of
And it's much
branches,
harder
some
to do.
thorns in a way.
It's much more difficult,
But
but it's a lot more rewarding when you reach the destination because you get to see a lot of things along the way that nobody else got to see.
you could have reached the destination before them too.
Yeah, you could get a shortcut, or you could be lost forever. Who knows? You could be like Friedrich Nietzsche and completely lose your mind by going a way that nobody else went. You know,
I have no idea who that is, but that's true.
philosopher. I mean, it's one of these things where it's a huge risk in being a trailblazer,
Mm-hmm.
and there's also a huge risk in following the crowd, because in following the crowd, you lose your soul. You know,
Right, but you sell your soul for safety
clout.
and security.
Yeah, safety in numbers.
Yeah,
And then
because this is a tried and true path. Hey, you know, I can get that Lamborghini if I sell enough cars. I can
right.
get this mansion if I do enough this.
Yeah.
But are you happy?
Yeah. Are you really going to be satisfied? And how many people do we know that are super rich that you talk to them and they're really not that happy? How many people does
I know so many people.
everybody that everybody knows? You know, it's like they got everything they want in life. Everything everybody told them that they want, and then at the end of it they're like, this is what I get?
Yeah.
It's like opening your present on Christmas Day. It's like not near what you asked for, you know?
Yeah, I look at it this way. You wake up and realize you're in the same spot that you've been in for the last 25 years. Like a certain person I know that we've worked with. You know, they like to boast and be proud. Or to me, I see it as a false mask of proud. Because they have nothing else. So why shouldn't they be proud in how many years they've worked inside of a certain industry? That's the only thing you was able to do for your whole life. You might have traveled and did whatever, but you are still in your life by another man. If that other man says you're worthless, then it doesn't matter how many years of experience you've done, you're worthless. Why? Because in the court of public opinion, there is no public opinion. You're just only known by what you can do at that one place.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in music or being known, why fame is such an desired path is the freedom of having everyone know who you are for a certain thing. And if one area doesn't go well, like let's say you're really well known for making music and you drop a clothing line. Now your clothing line doesn't do as good as Yeezys or something, right? And then let's say it fails. It's a startup company and it goes away within a year or two.
Yeah.
People are gonna talk about it. People are gonna still be like, but he makes amazing music, so he's still great. Well, if you worked in the fashion industry for 25 years and you have a line that goes bad, nobody's gonna hire you after that. That's it. There is no, oh yeah, you know, he makes great stuff. Like it's no, like you're a designer for Gucci. You're not Gucci himself. That's how I look at it. Is you don't have the backup of people knowing that you are better than just what's on paper.
Have you ever taken a personality test?
I think maybe one time. I don't know.
Are you familiar with the Myers-Briggs 16 personalities?
No, I don't think so.
Well, and I don't know all of them. But I every time I test, I'm either an INFJ or an INFP, depending on the day. Somewhere between the two. And
So what does that mean?
not to get into the weeds, but essentially it means you're a very introverted, very introspective, but also a very thoughtful and almost judgmental person. Almost. And I tend to be very judgmental. And I've noticed that a lot in your songs and kind of the way you approach life, I think you may be a similar personality type as well. And the only thing I would say is, you know, I've learned to take the judgment part out and to substitute the perceiving part, which is the difference between the J and the P, perception versus judging.
Right.
And I've grown to appreciate the differences in people, even if I know that they are being as fake as, you know, a bag of Lay's potato chips.
Yeah.
You know, being like that, it's half full and the rest of it's air.
Exactly. Yeah.
I've learned to appreciate the part that's half full, because there's something to learn from everybody, like, to an extreme degree. If you really pay attention, there's a nugget to extract from people. Like, you talk to somebody and you know that this person is mostly full of shit, but there's that one thing that they say, or that one moment of truth that they convey to you, and you're like, I can take that shit. I can take that shit and I can apply it to my life, and I can hold on to it, and I can appreciate them for that one time that they actually were real to me. People like you and me, we're real almost all the time. So it for everybody else that's full of shit, like, it's really hard to
that's why
relate to them and to not judge them and not be like, guys, you're not happy. You're pretending to be happy.
That's why working a 9-to-5 job is so depressing for me, because as a creative person, it's not only that I see that happening around me, it's also that they're trying to encourage it and enforce that in me, and they don't respect what I'm doing. Such as in my position, I was first hired as a lock porter. Now, technically, I'm not somebody's run around, get your coffee, do things for you type of man. I'm not that. But okay, that's my job at first. Well, I got promoted to being an inventory manager, meaning I'm doing much more on the back end, on the computer side of things, right? And I'm doing all these different things, but yet somebody's still gonna call my phone 24/7. Hey, guess what? We need your help taking this vehicle to a customer's house. Okay, but I have 14 vehicles that are about to be incoming that I need to stock inside the system, because if I don't, when these vehicles get in, you don't have an invoice, you don't have a VIN number, you don't have a build sheet, you don't have a PDI sheet, you don't have the service form. If you don't have these things without me, and it's going to take you longer to do it because you're not accustomed to doing it, because you're not doing it every day like me. So now you're taking my attention away from something that I know I'm supposed to be doing, and you're disrespecting me, because if I refuse, you're going to continue to talk shit, and you're going to think it's your world.
Yeah.
And you think that everything needs to be done by your standards because you're a manager, or because this is what you've been doing for 25, 30 years.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Dynamics.
Yeah, like, I don't care. Like, it's like going to the army. I have a best friend that's in the army right now, and he's noticed that it's the most miserable thing ever for him in his personality type, because he's whatever. I don't know the ranks. I think a lieutenant is like you just joined or something like that. Or a private or something like that. I don't
private
know.
is.
Right.
Lieutenant's a bit up there.
Right. So, you just join. You're there for 2-3 years. You have a 5-year contract or 10-year contract, whatever. And you have somebody that's a lieutenant or a general or somebody that's over you, and they're just like talking trash to you, even if they're wrong. And when you try to speak up about it, they're just like, no, I'm right, because I've been doing this for 40 years.
Yeah.
Okay, well, a dog that does something for 40 years, people like to say can't learn new tricks, but you can. You just have to not be so stubborn and understand that the world is more than what you perceive. Understanding people's perception. That's what has gotten me through a lot this whole year, is calming down and realizing I don't need to react to a bunch of things, and if I am, you're gonna hear it on the song. And I'm gonna make great content out of it. Actually, Kendrick Lamar, an amazing artist, legendary, probably the greatest artist of all time, aside from J. Cole to me, just finally released a new album last Friday, after taking a 5-year hiatus. No songs, nothing from him for 5 years. He has a song on there where he says, "Stop playing with me before I turn you to a song." Now, I honestly, that song, I can't remember the name of it. The song. Hold on, stop playing with me before I turn it to a song. Oh yeah. So I remember the whole hook of it. He's like, stop playing with me before I turn it to a song. Bitch, I'm attractive. Can't fuck with you no more. I'm fasting. Ugh. Bitch, I'm attractive. Can't fuck with you no more. I'm fasting. Like, I'm not gonna fuck with you anymore. I'm fasting from that. Fasting would usually is like with food or something, but the Bible doesn't specify it has to be food. You could just be taking a break, just moving away and strengthening yourself by removing something from your life. That can also be fasting.
It's powerful.
So he's like, I'm not fucking with you anymore. I'm fasting. I don't need that. You're not in my life anymore. But stop playing on my name before I turn you to a song. Because y'all know I do this. The whole world knows I does this. I know I do this. And if you play with me, you're gonna live forever. In a really bad way, because I'm gonna turn your ass into a song. Now I feel the same way. I'm like, I don't need to react to y'all. But say the wrong thing about me. Unfortunately, that has lived on for what we talked about earlier with my mom. There's some good and bad things that I've said about her, but it's all truth in my perception. And it might not be true today because I've grown from that and she's grown from that.
Yeah.
And we've made a deeper connection and love each other much more now.
Yeah.
Because of those things being in existence. But and that stands true for everybody. Shit, look at Eminem.
Yeah,
he ran through Kim and
He's
so
fun.
many more. Stop playing with me before I turn you into a song. What can I say?
Our mama.
Cleaning out my closet.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the thing about like parenting also is you teach to your generation. You know what I mean? Like you teach your son what you think is going to succeed in the world because you want him to be successful and happy.
Mm-hmm.
But by the time your son grows up, it's a completely different world than you grew up in.
Yeah.
So what worked for you and what worked for your peers is not what's going to work for him.
But
and many people are not willing to change with the times. We live in the age of information.
But
it's completely different.
The seeds that you plant in that person as a child will make them successful. Because if you plant a seed of confidence, if you plant a seed of self-love, positivity, understanding that people will be negative to you, plant the seed of communication skills. If you teach them basic essential survival skills, survival in the society that we live in, that will be the key features to leading them to success. Not necessarily mixing your personality and individuality inside of that child. I believe in parenting someone, learning the fundamental that's going to be able to be built upon.
Yeah.
Because if I teach my son or my daughter how to be communicative and they're able to speak properly, they are going to be able to go out there, and if they feel comfortable working a 9-to-5 job, then go ahead. So I talk really poorly about the 9-to-5 job, but clearly some people are actually happy doing that. There are some people that are actually sad doing other things. There are some people that are actually really happy.
That's its Beyonce, guys, by the way.
Yeah. There are some people that are actually really happy working that aren't actually putting on a front.
Yeah, like, I agree with you.
There are some people that don't need to be noticed for all of the work that they do. They're fine getting a paycheck and then saving it and then doing whatever they want to in life. They're fine with a work and hobby balance versus, work-life balance. And they're fine with that. So if you teach a child to have that fundamental values of whatever can be built upon, then if they want to go out there and get a regular job, they can do that and be successful because they learned the fundamental things that can be applied to anything. That's what I feel like parents should do.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that as a non-parent.
Well, I there's a lot of truth in what you say. I've come to that conclusion as well. I've come to the conclusion that it is almost worthless to teach my kids specific societal lessons. Like the old adage, work hard, doesn't apply anymore. Working hard is not going to make you. It's not going to make you money. it's gonna make you miserable and poor and in the bottom of the middle class for the rest of your life if you work hard. Now, if you seize the time that we're in, the age of information, then you at least have a chance at making it, because all the people that do that. And everything is changing on a daily basis. This is not something where you can just grind and be a workhorse and make it through. You have to be on your A game and your grind.
Right. On that note, something that I've wanted my music to also stand for is allowing people to recognize this is the 21st century. Why do you think I've done probably a total of like a handful of actual in real life shows, because I don't care about doing shows that much. Honestly, I would love to do more shows, but this is the age.
This is a lot of fun.
Right, it would be fun, and that's why I'm like, I would love to do more shows, but at the core value of like who I am as an artist, it's the digital age. Why can't you stream my music a lot and pay for my album on Apple or anything like that? You can pre-order the new album, Welcome to Paradise, by the way.
I want to talk about that.
So like you can do that, and I want to show people like, hey, you can be successful if you is the type of person that's so introverted that you don't want to be out in the world, then live your life online. Just know that it's going to be a little bit more difficult, but this is the 21st century. This is the digital age. Then live your career digitally. Be successful. Go out there. Don't tell yourself that you can't make music just because the path that you see online. When you look up, how can I be successful as a musician? Artists only get paid really from their record label if they're going out and doing their own shows, or artists are only getting this done if they go network in person. Yes, it's very easy to go and network in person compared to online and an email, but that's because people of today have made it difficult to network online and stuff with scams and fakes and all of that. And then people don't take an email seriously. But just as well as an email is there, you can call somebody. Why don't you put your business number up? Let me call you. I can call you and share my vision. I can FaceTime you if your business account allows for FaceTime or something. If it's not just a typical business phone, like a landline or something. Make it accessible for the age that we live in. Stop thinking the only way for an artist to network and connect is just through live events. A lot of record labels have A&R their A&R team looking at what's popping on YouTube.
What's A&R?
A&R is like an artist and resource, kind of like HR is like human resources. A&R is like a talent scout, the people that handle, like, if you was to send a demo into a record label, the A&R team is the people that's listening to that and also marketing that to the heads of the people running the record label that's going to either get you in or out. The A&R companies and teams are people that's really there to push or move away things. So like you have these talent scouts just like they do at acting jobs. Like the whole in-person thing, that might be more true for acting roles. Like, okay, yeah, maybe go to talent scout might be at a school where you're acting because they want to see how good you are in person, if they should add you to their movie or not. Maybe you're in high school, so you have talent scouts, just like there's talent scouts at basketball tryouts and stuff. See if you're going to be the next, LeBron or whoever you want to. I'm not here for the debate on that. But, like, maybe that's the more traditional route for that. They have to see your skills in person. But as an artist, you can make good music. Anybody can listen to your song and be like, oh, this is good. They don't need to hear you in person to think you're good or not. Now, they need to see you in person to see if you're a good performer. I understand that. But what I believe, in my perspective, is that if a record label wants you to be the type of artist that drives home a lot of performances, like a Coachella show or something like that, then have them set up. The record label industry has never changed, but they need to change. Have the record label companies set up a pathway as an artist to be successful, where I'm powerhousing all these digital sales and streams, and let's see how good of a performer he is. Let's book him at a small festival. Don't have him immediately go do Coachella, which is what a lot of immediately signed artists do, and then they don't put on the greatest show. Well, duh, because their first big performance was a damn Coachella. They never warmed up to it. Have them do some.
What's a Coachella?
Coachella is this big event out.
Coachella.
Is this big event out in? I think it's in L.A. somewhere in California. It's this big festival that is just for music and stuff like that. Coachella.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like a big music festival that a lot of artists go to, and they get paid a lot of money, and a lot of people go to because it's a festival. It's like a whole big thing, you know. But it's a huge event that's streamed now online to tens of thousands of people, and tens of thousands of people show up. Why should that be your first big performance? That's a lot of people. That's like a stadium full of people, but it's all outside. Most of the time, it's all outside.
Right.
Even when it's raining and stuff, it's all outside. Why have a stadium be your first big performance? Build up to it. Have a set pathway for that. Oh yeah, let him do some small festivals. Let him go to like a mall and do a performance there with a couple of people. Get his name out there that way. Why don't you help me on that thing? So that way you can see if he's gonna be an artist that's really a performer or not a performer. Like I just think the whole music industry needs to freaking hard left shift or hard right shift to the correct path to help more artists. But record labels are not there to solely help an artist.
So
yeah, I can go on and on about it. I'm sorry about the rant. I'm so tired of the record industry because music business is a lot different than making music.
You're right. So getting into the part that you enjoy, which is the making of the music.
Oh, I love it.
How do you get a concept in your head for a song into putting it on paper, into coming up with the beat, the melody, the hook, whatever the case may be, into digitally editing it on your machine over here, and then to uploading it, putting it out to the public? What's that process like for you from start to finish, and how long do you think about something before you actually put it down?
It depends on the topic and how strongly I feel about it. So, on a daily basis, I'm constantly thinking about music. From the time I wake up to the time my head hits the pillow again. Constantly thinking about music. Only thing I think about on a constant basis. I don't think about my wife or soon to be wife on that constant of a basis either. Like I live and breathe music. Like I need people to understand. I live and breathe music, whether that's a melody or listen to somebody else's song. Like I just live my life through a rhythm and a rhyme. If music went away tomorrow, oh my God, my life would be extremely depressing because it's just uplifting to me. It's there for every occasion. There's, by the way, before I get even deeper into this, I'll just name drop, shout out this amazing, incredible independent artist, NF. You need to check him out. He's a very authentic. His entire brand is real music. NF Real Music. NF is the initials of his name, as far as I'm concerned, and he makes a lot of type of music that I kind of make, but his is more like more focused on it than I do. Like he has songs talking about when his mom died. He has songs talking about his depression. And he used to be a quote unquote Christian artist. Just because people like to label him that, he makes it a mental note to never curse in his music. Because he used to, and he was like, I can say the same thing without cursing. So his music is there for a lot of people that are depressed, and it's just authentic. Even if you're not depressed, he has some songs that he's having fun and just doing whatever with, but it's very hyper focused on the mental aspect of your life and what people all around are doing. Like he has a song called Notepad where it sounds like he's talking to somebody else, like, hey, like a best friend, like you've been here with me my whole life, da da da. And then at the end of the song, you realize he's talking to his notepad, being that thing that's been there. I guess, yeah, like he's an amazing artist, so I think you would love him.
And you can relate to that.
Yeah, yes, which is why I haven't written a song, because I don't want what version would be that for me to undermine how brilliant his is. Like, if I feel like listening to something like that, I'm just gonna put his song on. Because sometimes you just gotta let people breathe and just understand that that's greatness, and I'm not gonna even touch the concept because he's done it so amazingly already, and that's just a part of my history. So back to making music. Making music for me, the concept of like what I'm gonna make. If I'm gonna wake up one morning and I'm feeling really bad because I go to work and my manager is on top of me about something, and I'm like, I'm doing my job, but they just won't shut up about something. So it just puts me inside of a bad mood. And then maybe from that, there might be some financial issues that rise up. So it makes me feel a little bit worse. Or I might get some bad news about a family member or a friend.
Yeah.
So, or my mental state could be I'm thinking about an ex or a friend that I used to know, which is also an ex friend, or
Yeah.
I'm thinking about scenarios that are just down. So I'm just on the level of like, I'll rate myself. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how strongly do I feel about this? 1 being like really, really down and depressed. Like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. And 10 being like, oh, I'm all right. I'm very good right now. And if I'm like in the realm of like anywhere at 5 and lower, I have to write it down immediately. Otherwise, I will just be thinking about the song that I want to write for days, weeks, sometimes months. I'll just think of the concept of the song, and what I'm waiting on is for the right beat to hit my ear to write it on. So for a concept, for example, like differences. The conceptualization of writing differences was probably 5 hours because I woke up, I felt highly disrespected and overlooked. Just in the music standpoint, I'm like, I've been doing this for a while. I feel like I'm not where I want to be. And then people was talking shit at work, and it was just a lot of different things, and I just felt disrespected in general. And then I was like, nah. So somewhere halfway throughout the day of my day, I was like, I'm gonna start writing this. Found a beat, and from there, my heart was just moving already. I was coming up with lyrics in my head, and I would be freestyling it in my head as I was working. As soon as I hit my lunch break, I wrote the whole song down.
Wow.
Then I got into the studio after work, and after I was in the studio, did a couple of different takes. Because sometimes you do a take of a song and it's just laying the foundation down, and your heart and soul is not really into it. You're just kind of seeing how would it sound on this beat. Do I really like it this much? So I did a couple of takes of it, and I was like, all right, let me go in here and really attack it and show people how I'm feeling. And recording it is just like that. Once you get into the mode and you know what you're trying to say and you really feel it, you kind of sometimes get into this mode where you feel it too much and you stumble over your own words that you've written because you're trying to say more than what you even wrote. And to make words fit in a good rhyme scheme, sometimes you have to take out extra words that you would normally say in person to make it fit in a 3-4 minute song or 2 minute song. So you're trying to make something mean more with less words. So it'll be like a process of that. Like, all right, that doesn't fit on the song. Let me take this word out, but maybe add this smaller word in so that way it can still fit the rhyme scheme. So I'll start analyzing and rebuilding the structure of my writing, crossing things out, putting new things in, taking whole lines out, and that process is probably like 15 to 20 minutes for me as an artist. And then actually recording the whole thing and having it in front of the computer is like an hour. Because really, you think about it, it's like, okay, it's a song. Like, it's 3-4 minutes. Just rap it. That's done. That's not it for me. Because I analyze it as soon as I'm done recording. I'll sit back and listen to it like a million times. And like, if I'm going to give a realistic answer, I probably listen to one of my songs at least 20 times and end up changing something. And then I listen to it again another 20 times and notice something, go to sleep, wake back up, then work on it tomorrow, And that's just on the production side, because people think production is just how well the beat sounds. It's not true. Production is how well the words sound in sync with the beat, how clear are the vocals, how crisp are they coming through, is the impact of what you're trying to say. Does it hit on a certain note of the song? Does it sound clear? Are you going to take and cut away the beat at a certain point so people can hear your voice even more and then bring it back in at a certain point? Are you going to add in little ad libs where you're not even re-rapping the song? You just, an ad lib is just a voice in the back of the song that people really have to listen in to hear, that give the song another meaning to what you're saying.
Right.
Things like that is a whole nother process. So that's, again, at this point, I've listened to my song like 60 to 100 times, and I'm like, I don't like this. So I might not even pick the song out, but I'll still listen to it on the day-to-day, riding to and from work. This is what ends up becoming what's either cut or making it on the album. Because I could make 30 to 40, maybe 50 songs for an album that's going to be 12 songs long. And then I have to sit and listen to all of those and then cut it down. But the process of still making one song is like I'm listening to it like 100 times as I am mixing and mastering. Mixing and mastering, for people that don't know, is you record the song and then you mix your vocals with the beat. You mix the beat and the drums together with whatever melody, the harmonies and all of that. You clean up your vocals so they don't sound scratchy. You clean up the pops, like, you know, when you make a P sound, it can kind of, you know, peak the mic or something like that. And you know, you could spit on the mic and then it crackles a little bit. Like, there's certain little elements. You get a pop filter, but then that doesn't always help it. So you have to really sit there and clean up your vocals. Make sure your vocals is as loud or a little bit louder than the beat. What kind of song is it? Is your vocals needing to be higher or lower than the beat? I think about all of that, and I'm doing all of that as I'm creating my records. And to me, I love it because I love listening back. And to me, I love mixing and mastering my music almost more than I love writing the actual song, because I love making the music sound good. So that way I can keep listening to it back and forth. And then when I get the certain sound that I want to get, I get really proud and happy of it, because I'm like, oh, I can't wait for people to hear this, or just me, I just can't wait to hear this in the car. So the process of that is, after I finish a single version of my mix and master, I'm like, let me see if I actually got it really right. So I'll go take it down to the car, and I'll listen to it in the car. Or I'll drive around real quick and listen to that one song like 10 times in the car. And then I'll notice something, since it's the quality inside of the car is a little bit different. I'm like, nah, I need to change something, or add something. So the whole process is like 5 hours for one song. And then if I was to release that song, whether it's a single or put it inside of an album, that's a whole nother thing. You know, I just put it out to my distributor, and I try to release my stuff at least 4 weeks in advance. It doesn't always happen. I've done surprise releases. Fans can tell you that. Sometimes I don't give an announcement. I'm just like, when the song drops, it drops, and then it just drops. Yeah, and it just drops. It just drops, because sometimes it's like on a whim, and I'm feeling it, and I have to. My distributor makes me wait at bare minimum a week, so I'll know it's coming out for like a week, and then boom, it's out. it's just out, and then people just get it. But the process of making one song is typically anywhere from 1 to 5 hours, because I'm doing the mixing and mastering myself. If I didn't do that, I would basically record the song in 3, 4, 5 minutes, and then I would send that song off to an engineer. Because an engineer is somebody that actually sits there and mixes and masters the song. A producer is somebody that makes the beat of the song. So there's different roles in a song making process that people don't understand. A lot of people get the word producer and engineer mixed up, and they get the artist mixed up with what they do. Like the artist J. Cole, he's a rapper / writer and producer, but he doesn't engineer his stuff as far as I know. He knows what sounds good as a producer, like with the beats and stuff, but I've never heard a story of him mixing his vocals, adding his own auto tune, and all. I do all of that myself. So
Wow.
the entire process I can do myself. But I decided like that takes too long for me to sit down and make an entire beat all the time. So I'll find a beat on YouTube a lot of times. And this is I talked to you about this a little bit before getting on here is shining light onto so many beautiful creators that are on YouTube. All you have to do is pay like whatever. Well, I can't say all you have to do because some of them are overpriced, but sometimes you can just use their beat for free. Just message them, ask them, or you pay a certain fee and you get a license for it, or you can ask them how much it's going to be to pay for an exclusive license. These are terms that you should know as an artist, and you should have a document of everything. Personally, I have not always used people's beats correctly, and I've known that as I've learned. So I want to publicly say I'm sorry for if I ever took something and not documented it correctly. Because before I used to like, oh yeah, I'll get a beat and it would say free on YouTube, but I didn't read the description, and the description would be like, oh, free for non-monetized version or something, right? So I'd be like, what does that mean? You put free in the title, so I just downloaded it and I used the beat and I felt the beat. Right? But that led me to learn like, oh, okay, they're meaning like, oh, if I'm not gonna make any money off of it anyway, so I can like maybe use it on YouTube or something, and just credit the person. I didn't know how to credit people at first because I would just be so excited. I would just like write the song, I'd write it, and I'd have it out. As I got a little bit older inside, like mentally, and just like calmed down, and also as I did more research on crediting people and what that looks like and how are there different ways to credit. You can credit somebody on the song by having a producer tag, like let's say somebody named TJ made a beat. You might hear TJ on the beat right before the song starts or something, or somewhere in the middle, because they're letting you know, hey, I'm the producer. I made this beat for this artist. And if you guys that listen to this like my production style, maybe you can look me up and I might make a beat for you. So having that person's name inside the song is a way of giving credit. Having that person's name listed on Spotify somewhere as producer credit is a way of giving credit. There are different ways of giving credit because usually when you buy a beat from somebody, you don't have to keep their name inside the beat. But if you look at my entire track record, almost all of my songs, at least I'm sure a good amount of them, have the producers tags inside of it because I just want to let them. I just want to show love to everybody. Everybody got to eat. Everybody got a role to play in their own individual lives. I don't want to take anything from anybody. So if I've ever wrongfully taken anything from somebody before, I apologize, and I don't mind. If you want me to pay $35, $500, I might not have the money at the time, but I'll pay you. It's right. It's your art, and I'm using that. And I don't ever want to use something wrongfully. You get a gray area of transformative though, because some people are a little arrogant with their stuff. Because when you look at like major labels, if you're signed to like, I don't know, Sony, I'll just use Sony again. They might pay a producer $25,000 for one beat. I don't have $25,000. You're not getting $25K from me. I'm sorry, you're just not. If I had $25K,
that seems a bit
excessive,
even
right?
For people that have that kind of money,
it's excessive. It is. It's extremely excessive. But then you have people on YouTube side that you can go to beatstars.com. There's different websites that will help you find producers and stuff like that. I just want to let it know, like, if you are struggling to find beats and you're like, I want to rap and stuff, just do a quick Google search, go on YouTube. If there's an artist you like, you can type in J. Cole type beat, Eminem type beat, and it's probably going to be somebody that has a production style that you're looking for. Mm-hmm. And if you don't like anything that they have publicly released, just email them. Making music is not hard if you're actually into it. It's the excuses that make it more difficult. Publicly releasing music is hard because there's a thing called clearing samples, meaning you have to call a certain firm or email somebody and they might want a huge cut of whatever song you're going to play. especially if you're really big. So clearing a sample, sometimes they want you to pay them a lot of money. Other times they just say, "Oh, well, we want 20% of all royalties." Okay. Or sometimes you get assholes where they're just like, "We want 90%."
Wow, that's a lot.
I'm like, bro, I use your sample for like 10 seconds. Yeah. Releasing music is much more than what people know. They think you can just record something and put it out. You can't. You can do that if you're not making profit from it. My goal is to make profit. I know that might seem scummy to some people. They're like, oh, if you really love music, you'll put it out. Well, yeah, whatever. Okay, that's good. Cool. You do that when you have $1 million. But I don't. I want to not work a 9 to 5 job. I want music and my gaming career to be the mainstays of financial stability for me. I believe the term of financial security or financial freedom, that's the word I'm looking for, is a lie, is a myth. There's no such thing as financial freedom.
Yeah.
Because you can be making $5,000 to $10,000 a month. To a normal person, that's a lot of money. And you can be living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah. Really true. If you don't know how to manage it.
But financial stability is different than financial freedom. I think most people want financial stability and mistake it for financial freedom. Financial stability is knowing you'll always have a stable amount of income coming in that's always going to cover your necessities. So if you know that you're making 5 to 10,000 a month off of, for example, music or a job that you're working traditionally, well, you have financial stability as long as you know that, all right, it only costs me $300 a month to take care of all of my food, and it takes me like, I don't know, $1,200 a month to take care of my my light and rent or whatever, your mortgage, right? So altogether, maybe you're only spending $2,000 or something, or $1,700, and you're bringing in 5 to 10. You might still be living paycheck to paycheck, because a necessity isn't always a car, depending on the environment you live in. Isn't always a nice chain, because a lot of people in the rap game like to flaunt all this jewelry and stuff, which is horrible financial investments. They like to promote all of these different things, or just your lifestyle. You might have an expensive lifestyle. You might go out and drink every night and party, and then you might spend $5,000 a month going out to different places.
All those people in the car industry.
Yeah, you really might go out. You might go to
3/4 of them.
So there's that thing. It's like, how do you manage your lifestyle? Is your lifestyle really how much money do you need to have financial stability in your life, in your lifestyle? And for me, I have a certain number in my head that I need to be at. Like I've told people, I don't need to be the richest. I don't need to have $1 million. If somebody right now wants to sponsor my career and they signed me and gave me a check for $100,000, that's all I would ever need to be comfortable in my life. Why? Because immediately I'm going to spend $30,000 to pay off the rest of my car. Well, I don't need 30,000, more like 27, 28, right? So I would use however much I need to pay off the rest of my car. And then I'm going to pay 40,000, which at this point, if you've done the math, that's $70,000 that I would have used. I would have used 40,000, put it in investments, in smart investments. And then the other 30,000, because it's $100,000, is going straight to taxes. Immediately, you make $100,000, 30,000 of that is going to taxes, or more. Because realistically, you never need $40,000 or $100,000 in a bank account at one time. You never need that. You never need that unless your lifestyle is sporadically insane. You never need that. So if you have it in investments or somewhere where it's building, not just sitting in a savings account, building not less of 1%, then just pull out accordingly, because the government can't tax you on something that's not there. They can't tax you on money that's growing, that's not there. They can't tax you on something that's growing in an account that it's not there. The figment of money is just an imaginatory number that's digital somewhere. The bank, if you see $70,000 in your bank account, That's not there. The bank is using your money to fund somebody else's loan. That money is not even there, but they make it available to you when you look at it. You're like, I want to pull 10,000 out today, because I bet you, unless you're somebody that's really really popping, they're not gonna let you pull out $70,000 at one time, even if you have all that in one
They're
account.
not gonna let anybody do that.
It just doesn't happen.
Within the fractional reserve lending work.
Exactly.
They don't have that kind of money.
It just
They
doesn't
take,
happen.
like, they have like 10% of everybody's money at any given time. The rest of it is out being invested and, or as you said, being loaned out to somebody else.
Right, and they're investing your money. So why don't you just do it yourself?
Yeah.
Why don't you do it yourself? So that's where financial stability comes from. So yes, publicly releasing music is a thought out process, and it takes time, which is why I need y'all to stop. Actually, I don't care. I was gonna say I need y'all to stop messaging me, but not enough people message me. Message me more. I don't care if you don't do it. I don't care. It's up to you. But I would love it if you message me more. Just the messages do kind of get a little annoying when you message me and email me like, when's the next song coming out? When's this next thing come out? And I'm like, bro, I just dropped something 2 weeks ago. Yeah, but that's like 2 weeks old. Like, okay, I get it. We live in a microwave generation where everything is like this, and this. But art takes time, and publicly releasing art takes even more time.
Yeah.
But just know when I drop, it's good. It's great.
So that being said, you have an album coming out.
I do. It's
Tell me
called
about it.
it's called Welcome to Paradise. The album is thematically called Paradise for something you'll find out as you listen to the album, but it's called Paradise for a specific reason of it's all up here. It's all in your head. The depression, the anxiety, and all of that, it's perception. Right? We've been talking about it this whole time for like an hour or 2 hours. So it's all perception.
Yeah.
What makes you happy? In fact, take happiness out the way. Because happiness can sometimes just be a figment of your imagination. It's just a myth, right? What makes you joyful? What gives you pleasure? What creates excitement? What takes away fear? What takes away anxieties? What's important to you? For me, that's spending time with my friends, my family, those that hold me close and respect me, and my fiance. And listening to music, good ass music, and driving around and traveling. So, in this album, you're going to hear lots of highs that you haven't heard in any of my other stuff, because a lot of my other stuff is very dark and deep and on a more depressing negative note, but has a positive in there when you're really listening. This is more upbeat music, very positive, with backlash being thrown back at the criticisms of people that used to talk about me in a certain type of way. I have a certain song on there where the entire song is just speaking about the critics, and at some point in that song I say, maybe I'll forever be unheard, but I'm still gonna be doing me. I might go the rest of my life and never be heard by anybody else, and it'd be really sad. I think about it all the time, and it hurts me, and it makes me depressed. Because I work really hard, and I really put everything I do put inside of this music, and the whole conversation of judging somebody versus perception. I judge people, in a sense. I don't really judge them how you would think a person would judge another person. I judge them in the sense of, why aren't you giving support when I'm displaying a certain amount of skill and authenticity? Like, I'm really true to my craft. I really love this. I'm being very positive towards people. I had somebody call me pushy before, because it was like, being friends with you is like, you're really pushy because you're always trying to shove your music down everybody's throat when we don't really want to listen. What do you? It's not really like, you're not really being that good of a friend then, because it's not being pushy. I'm just on my grind. I just want you to listen, and plus you're my friend, so I want you to hear what I've been working on. I just can't fathom it. I still can't fathom it. It just doesn't make sense to me.
The guy with the intro in your antisocial album talks about music as being you and you being music.
Yeah.
It's like inseparable.
Yeah, and
I don't know anything about the guy or whatever, but there's like a whole bunch of people within your intro that just talk about you and your music and what it means to them. And you know, they could be somebody like me who has a very hard time appreciating any music.
mhm.
Like I love Johnny Cash. I probably between how many audiobooks I listen to and how much music I listen to, music probably occupies like 1% of my brain power on a yearly basis. You know what I mean? With you, it's like probably 80 percentile. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could be somebody like that, but it's still.
But this person isn't like that. They just like a certain style of music, so they choose to say my music is bad, even though they're supposedly a friend of mine. Now, again, I don't want yes men. You can tell me if my music is actually objectively bad, but to tell me that my music is bad and that you don't want to listen to it simply because you like a certain style. Now, I've made good music to him before, and he's been like, "Oh, I really enjoy this song and this song." Which again, leads to the thing where I said you don't have to like all of my songs. He likes two of my songs, as far as I know. Two out of hundreds of my songs. He only likes two of them that I know of.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the fact that he tries to shove it in my face all the time that gets really annoying. Where at that point, like, and the thing is, I know some people I listen to this, like, he's not a good friend. He's not a real friend. That's not true because I know him on a really personal level. He actually is a good friend, and he just doesn't understand all the time. Like, that's not how you show somebody that's really supportive support at all. Like, you're
Yeah.
being negative and really throwing it in my face. He used to make it a point. He's still in college right now. He used to make it a point to show my music to people that like the hype BS kind of music that he loves to listen to. And then he would record that and then have them listen to it and be like, "Well, I hear the potential, but what does this line even mean?" And then he would send it back to me. And then he was like, "Yeah, I'm be honest. My friend, he doesn't even listen to rap at all. Why would you let him listen to one of my rap songs when he doesn't like rap at all?" Like, he let me. Like, I didn't understand. Like, you just wanting people to shit on me. Like, it doesn't. And then he just constantly sending me stuff like that. So that stuff got annoying.
That's got to be insecurity on his part, honestly.
Right.
It's got to be a huge part.
But then this person would always come to me when they're going through some deep stuff. Which is ironic. It's kind of crazy, but stuff like that is talked about a little bit on this album that I have coming. Whereas, like, all right, it's about me now. I stopped making it about you. I'm not making music for you anymore. I'm not making music for this group anymore. I'm not making music for how I think people should feel. I'm making music because this album is about my friends and my family and the people that love me and that support me. And this music and this album is made for you. So I want to hear the true opinions and the thoughts from the people that I care about. I don't care what the world thinks about it. The world could give me a 0 out of 5-star rating on it, but you won't. And I know you won't because you have a friend, you have a family out there that cares about you. And they might not be blood related, but everybody has someone, even if you feel like you're completely, totally isolated and alone.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, I'm a very big believer that everybody does have someone or something. You just might not perceive it to be what you want it to be because your family might not be the social media gimmick that you see online that you want. It might not be the picture perfect thing that you want. I'm gonna bring up comic books because that's something that I love, right? My reference point. Your family might be Bruce Wayne and your parents got murdered. God bless your heart. And you might have nobody else. You might just have a friend that's like an Alfred, like a butler. Maybe you don't even have that. But you know what Batman does have? His the family he created. He has money and he had the Bat family he created. He has Batwoman. He has a Robin. He has a Joker that has very clearly been stated that he needs Batman, and Batman obviously needs Joker. Like,
is that a Lego Batman reference?
No, not even that. I guess so, because they did do that in Lego Batman, but like literally in their comics, like it's a dichotomy between them. Like, one can't really exist without the other. It's a really sad thing. Any comic book depiction of Joker dying, you see how hurt Bruce is,
Yeah,
or whoever.
Killing Joke.
Yeah, killing joke. Yeah, that's a big one, and it really impacts him.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
you have
you don't
somebody.
even know if he dies because like just trails off, ha, 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 and then it just stops.
But yeah, right. But he still had people, and you know he had people because when one of those people, Jason Todd, ended up dying, supposedly, and then got turned into the Red Hood, he was really hurt.
Spoiler alert.
It has been out for yeah, I know.
He got crowbarred to death by the Joker, by the way.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just like stuff like that is like you can clearly see it impacts him. It's not the family that Bruce wanted. It's not the family that he longs for, that he's fighting for, so he doesn't, lose all hope. He's trying to make sure he instills hope in other people. In a sense, he's a vigilante. Spider-Man, he doesn't know his parents. His parents were killed. Or in some versions of Spider-Man's story, they would just abandoned him. Uncle Ben was passed away. And in a lot of stories, you have Aunt May that passed away, so he's totally isolated. If you haven't seen No Way Home, there's a new Spider-Man movie made out for the Disney Marvel Cinematic Universe. He's all alone. He doesn't have his best friends. He doesn't have the Avengers. Sure, they know him, but they don't know he's Peter. So he's still just a mask. He's wearing that mask now. Spider-Man, specifically Peter Parker's tales and stories in the comics, because people like to bring up Miles Morales. Miles Morales had it a lot easier than Peter. Peter's actual story inside of the comic books is one of the most depressing, horrific stories you'll ever meet. In every single version of him. You had a version of him that had everything he ever wanted, and then it slipped away from him just like that. He had a version where he literally pleaded to Satan himself for the Marvel for the Marvel universe inside of comic books, which is Mephisto, to bring everything back. Like, he literally was trying to make deals with the devil. Like, he has gone through so much to get family. But
in that same issue, he had to give up his relationship
with
Jane to be able to get the universe back together.
Exactly. And it's clear that it might have not been the family he wanted, but his family that he did get was Ben and May and the friends that was around him. And you've seen that he went through any lengths for them. That's what this album is about. Going to any lengths through it. You'll hear in the beginning of the album not me specifically, because this album is still a narrative driven story, because it's coming in right off of Lost World. Lost World, where you're thinking the name of Lost World. Well, yeah, because in the beginning of this album, I'm not lost anymore. Or this character that I'm playing isn't lost anymore. They're now on a specific road. They're on a road to paradise. And throughout the album, you will hear stories of going to a cookout, going to spend time with friends and family. Oh, where's this character at? Well, this character isn't around because he's working hard to hold stuff down. He's really, really trying to make sure everything works out in the life. Why he isn't always around? He's not always, the talk of the town and stuff. He might have invited you to the party, but he didn't even show up himself. You get stories where you hear a story like, oh, I'm gonna do anything for my family. I'll kill for them. I'll break rules for them. Things like that, right? You hear all that throughout the album, and it's really, really an experience. So I know you're not gonna hate it. You might not like my execution, as I'm an artist. Every artist, I feel that's something that's completely abstract and you hate it, and I love it. It's art. Let it be judged. If you love it, you love it. If you hate it, you hate it. But I'm sure that you're bound to like at least one thing on there, or at least bop your head to a melody.
I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be really awesome. Do you sell merch? Is that what that shirt is?
It is a work in progress.
Well, tell me about it.
Work in progress. People can't see it. It's a work in progress. I'll stand up a little bit. Dreams to Reality Records.
Looks really cool. I like it.
Dreams to Reality is what I like to preach about. That's what the D2R means for anybody that looks at my stuff on YouTube. D2R stands for Dreams to Reality, because I'm a firm believer that people can make their dreams a reality as long as it's a realistic reality. You know, if your dream is to be a millionaire by the time you're 40, then go be a freaking millionaire by the time you're 40 or something. Like, or if your dream is just, hey, I just want to be a millionaire, well, then analyze what it takes to be a millionaire. How much money do you have to save a year? A lot of people don't realize, but you end up getting $1 million in your lifetime before you're 25. It's just
It's true.
you end up spending so much money because you're getting that in segments. Yes, you might live on a $30,000 a year a salary, and you might be working that from the time you're 18 to 25 or something. Well, do the math. You might have $250,000 that you have spent all of, and you're still living paycheck to paycheck. So, what do you have to save? What do you have to invest in? What do you have to do to progress your career so you get even more money to save? What side jobs are you going to just keep working one job? What about working two or three? So it's about dreams to reality is really about turning your actual dream into a physical manifestation. It was a dream for me to make music. My dream from music at first was to just make enough money to buy pizza off of. And then I released my first album and I had enough money to buy 500 pizzas. Maybe not 500 pizzas, but maybe like 50 or something. I don't know. I can tell you this. The song Drifting made me a big check for me. It might not be big for you. I'm not going to disclose how much it was. It wasn't $1,000, so I can tell you that. But it was a big check for me, especially from making it from music. And I was really happy and proud of that. And it was after that moment when I showed my mom, and she was like, "Oh shoot, you can do this." Yeah, I can do this. I can. I have never gotten a check even remotely close to as big as what I've ever gotten. Most of the time, I'm getting checks that are like $20 to $40, maybe $100 for my music. But I promise you that you can do it, and it's all on how you save. I've gotten to the point now where a lot of the music that I'm making just comes out of the money that I'm already making, because it costs money to make the music a lot of the times. It was harder in the beginning, but now it's like the money that I make from music is paying for its own production, paying for its own release. It might cost you $50 to $100 to put an album out, but you save your money that you've already made for it, and it starts paying for itself. The production of making an album is like thousands of dollars, people, or it could be hundreds if you're doing a lot of it yourself. I try to make it a point with my camera work to record all the music videos myself with just me and whoever is around me. That's why you see it say directed by Kenja and stuff like that, because that's what I'm trying to do, show people you don't need a 4K camera. Like, yes, you have a 4K camera inside of your pocket. Your phone can do a lot of things. You can do it. Stop giving yourself an excuse. Turn your dreams to reality. That's what dreams to reality means.
Wow.
That's why it's so important to me, because I hear people everywhere talk so negative about themselves, including myself. But
You don't say.
when I'm talking negative about myself, I'm still doing it on a record, which means I'm talking negative about myself. But I think I've earned the right to talk negative about myself because I'm turning it into an art, which is my reality of my dream.
Right. Yeah, it's inspiring. People that take action are inspiring. And the thing is you can, right? Like, I love playing basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I love playing basketball.
Me too.
I am. When I say terrible, I mean like pretty terrible. I have the Dennis Rodman effect, right? Like, I put a lot of effort into it.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it. I can't shoot. I can't dribble. I can't rebound. I can rebound. Okay, so I'm a little bit like Dennis, but it's one of these things I have a lot of passion for. I don't have any talent for whatsoever. But when your talent is anywhere even remotely close to the amount of passion and hard work you have for something, then it all works together.
Yeah.
And for you have a lot of that going. You have a measurable amount of talent, I think.
I appreciate that.
I think because, and I think when I say that, a lot of people have good voices. A lot of people can put together a rhyme. A lot of people can put together a melody. but you have an ability to be vulnerable in front of other people. And that, to me, is talent. That, to me, is something that other people can get
You know where I get that from?
attached to.
I get that from growing up. My grandmother and my mom told me that it's not right to judge other people, and then I would call them out on it when they would judge people, because in the Bible it says that it's God's job to judge. You as a man should not judge another man for anything, even if you know they're a bad person. What defines a bad person? Because they're on crack, because they're on coke. Johnny Depp did coke, but he makes amazing movies. Does that mean he's a bad person because he did a drug? That's his self medication. That's between himself and God. You gotta understand, people, that what people go through, you don't know. You don't know what's behind the closed doors. Maybe he needed that coke. Maybe he needed that little puff of weed. You don't know. Maybe
It's
he
not
needs to
exactly
function.
clear if that is a sin based on the actual Bible.
There's nothing that says any of that is a sin except over abusing stuff.
Right.
The only thing that's a sin, like he says, okay, you can indulge in drinks, but don't overindulge. It's the same thing with any substance, right? If you're gonna do something, just don't overindulge. The point, when you end up doing too much when you know physically you cannot function anymore. You do too much when you know your livelihood is an addiction to what product. Now I get it. You go through stuff, and sometimes that is your coping mechanism. But if your coping mechanism is the only singular way that you can get through life, it shouldn't be there. There should be other things that you can work with. Like, yes, music is like my coping mechanism, but I do have my wife to be. I do have video games. That's why I'm not making music all the time. But you'll see a live stream of me playing a video game. Mix it up a little bit. You know, just do a little bit of other stuff. Don't do it to the point that it completely harms you. Now, I'm selfish in the sense of making my music, because I would rather choose my music over anything and anybody all day. If you ask me to give away anything in my world and over music, everything else is leaving but music, because I can't function without making music. You can call it unhealthy, but I'm not harming myself because it's helping me. It's a healthy addiction. You can have a healthy addiction to your work and make you motivated, get a lot of money, whatever is comfortable for you. But you don't have the right to judge anybody else for what they're doing, because you don't know what they're really going through. Even if you sit down and have a conversation with you, right? Are they lying to you? You don't know. So don't judge them. Just take it at face value and let God do the judging. And frankly, you'll find out that it's so much easier on yourself than it is to just let God or whatever higher spirit or power that you might believe in judge. Why do you need to care about what they're doing? They're another person. Don't force your ideals on another person. I don't care. Shit. If somebody wants to hate me, then hate me. I'm not going to force you to like me, bro. I'm just not going to do it. I don't feel like judging you. If you wear sandals and socks all the time, hey, that's on you. Have some sweaty feet. That's good. But me, shit, open toes, bro. Shit, I'm going to let my joints breathe. Like, I'm not going to judge you for it. I'm just...
Greatest quote of all time right there, folks.
Just don't judge people, man. It makes it it's so tiring to do so.
Yeah, it's a really hard thing to do. As an introvert, you feel like you're judged all the time.
Right.
You feel like everybody else is out to get you because they're trying their absolute best to get you out of your shell. Because in their world, like, that's the only thing that exists, and in my world, my shell is way better than your world.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would rather be in my head than in your circle of 20 people basically circle jerking each other all day.
Mm-hmm.
I would. That's no interest of me whatsoever. You know, you're basically like making each other weaker and less effective at life just by hanging out and talking about nonsense all the time.
Yeah.
I would rather be in my head. I'd rather have Voltaire in here or Jack London or. I would rather have the information I've stored in here circle around all day long than talk to somebody who wants to talk about nonsense. The underlining curiosity for me with you and your music is legacy. Do you think that is that your underlining, like, motivation for all of this?
At
Do
the
you
end
wanna
of my
leave-
life,
Yeah, go ahead.
at the end of my life, I just want to be remembered as a good man and a good husband that loved, and I guess a good father. If I get a chance to have kids, if you know, and somebody that was known as somebody is very, very passionate. Um, if I was to if I was to write out my own tombstone, right, I would just want to be known as a good man that loved to be authentic, a good husband, and a good father. That's it. Just a good man. My music, the legacy that I would love to leave in my music is to let people know you can do it. The same thing with my videos. If you was to watch one of my music videos, oh man, it's cheap. It's this, it's that. Shit, you can call it cheap, but one of these days, if I make $100,000 from a music video and you said it looks too cheap because I use my freaking phone, I'm gonna laugh in your face and be like, "Damn, bro, you spent $2,000 on making a music video, and I spent some gas money to drive to where I was gonna use because I'm already paying on my phone or I have my phone paid off." Tough. If you can find a way to make it and do things with the means that you have, then go for it. Whatever. They're going to talk about you, right? Then let them talk. They're talking about you for a reason. If you're doing something right, then you have somebody talking about you. If you have nobody talking shit about you, you're not doing nothing right. Somebody's going to talk to you because people have an ego.
Yeah.
Look at that. It comes right all the way back around. People have an ego. Sometimes they don't have an ego. Sometimes they're just jealous.
And most of the time, when people talk shit about somebody else, it's their own insecurities. It's not really about them.
Or they feel big because they're on a computer screen and they're behind something, but they won't tell you that to your face. So, I don't care. Call my production cheap. Call my music ass. Call it whatever you want to call it. But you can't call it fake because I'm always authentically being me. And I'm going to find a way to do it. If you tell me that I can't write a song with a chalkboard and some chalk, I swear to God, I'm gonna write that whole song. I'm gonna find a way to make a beat with the chalkboard and some desks in the room. And afterwards, I'll record that sound on my phone. And then I'll go back to the studio and talk with a producer about making it into a beat. Then you can do it. If you don't have money, then you better have time because you have time. And find a way to make your own beats or something like that. You can do it. Stop giving yourself an excuse. I don't believe in excuses. I hate on myself when I give my own self an excuse. Sometimes I'm tired. I'm like, I don't want to get up. I can't do this right now. I just want to lay here and, I don't know, watch another YouTube video or something. And then I'm like, I need to be in the studio making music. And sometimes I don't get up and I'm like, I need to just go do it. And then if I just cave in and I give into it and I'm just sitting there watching whatever I'm watching, I feel horrible. I can't even enjoy it anymore because I know that I just gave myself an excuse and then I just get up anyways. Every time you give yourself an excuse to not do something is every time you lessen your potential to be great. So if you actually care about something that you're doing, you'll feel it. You'll feel it. Every time you give yourself an excuse, you'll feel it. And you'll also feel it and be passionate about it when other people talk wrongly about whatever it is you're passionate about. Like if you're passionate about debating comic book stuff or whatever, right? You love comic books, you're going to know when somebody says something wrong about a character. You're going to know when somebody gets a story wrong. You're going to know when there's a certain beat in a movie that looks wrong that's supposed to be an accurate depiction of a comic book. You know, you're gonna know these things if you're very passionate about something. So if you're really passionate about music and you want to go out there and make music, or if you're passionate about being a performer, if you're passionate about being a producer, an artist, a videographer, a salesman, you'll know because you actually feel something in your soul about whatever it is people are talking about. Like you will feel like you have to correct them, even though you don't have to. You'll feel that pull in your heart and your soul because you love it.
That's good.
Don't ignore it.
That's good stuff. Follow your passion, dreams to reality.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Is there anything else you would like to add to this interaction? Anything coming out? I mean, obviously the album, but anything else you could think of? that would be of interest to someone, especially your fans?
Album is for sale right now for pre-order on iTunes. Just look up on iTunes, Kenja, Welcome to Paradise. It means a lot to me to have any support. Anybody that comes through and really cares about me. People have this figment of imagination saying that I'm really like this god figure, this wise person, this whatever it is. They put me on this pedestal, and I'm thankful, but I'm just a human being just like you. I don't have a ton of money. I have one really nice car that I really worked my ass off for it, and you can do anything that you really put your mind to. I don't know if I'll ever be a millionaire, but I know I'll make $100,000 somehow, some way, because everything that I've wanted to go get, I've gotten it. And in this album, you hear me say something similar. I say, I'm very overlooked and underpaid in a lot of senses, but I've never once seeked fame. Not one time in my whole career of making music have I ever seeked actually wanting fame. I've wanted people to listen to my music. I would much rather have the money than have like this notoriety, this big fame.
Yeah.
This is the time. It's a change. I'm gonna seek fame. You're gonna see my face everywhere. Everywhere. You're gonna see me put out a lot of gaming videos. You're gonna see me put out a lot of music this year. I know we're getting to halfway point of the year, and you think, oh, I'm putting out an album. There's no way he's gonna put more music out. I'm gonna put more music out, YouTube exclusive, and you're gonna see my face everywhere. I promise you, within the next 2 years, I would have made my $100,000. It's gonna be saved somewhere. Make yourself a goal. Reach the goal. Don't take shit from anybody. There are people that made $10 million in 1 or 2 years. I don't care what your circumstances are. If you feel like you can't make out somewhere, then what will encourage you to make it out somewhere? If you have something that makes you feel like you're really down and under, then get away from that. It's hard, and people like to stay where they're comfortable. Shake up your world. Stop being so comfortable, and go be a fucking animal. Go be a beast.
Oh yeah, it's good stuff. One extra thing I want to do is one of the things I got from the last interview was people want to see your crib. You know what I mean? People want to see this little area here, you know?
This area, this...
Yeah. So I'm going to take this little fella, and I'm going to just show it around a little bit. Sound good?
If you can, I don't know if you can, because we're all connected by wires and stuff, right?
Let's give it
so
a go.
What I can promise that I can try to do.
Let's give it a go.
All right, you can try. I was gonna say I can.
Got a little bit of lighting.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say what I can try to do is I could just record on my phone and then edit it in there, but yeah, you can do that too.
That's just 20,000 streams for drifting. Boom, boom, right there. And this we have, like, I don't know, freaking lot, Naruto,
Manga.
Some,
my inspirations. This is what I call my inspiration.
my hands are not that steady.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a Yautja over there.
Yeah.
Right there. That's pretty cool. It's Predator.
I actually have
for the
two.
uninitiated geek people.
I have my
You got
guitar
two
right
of them.
here. Yeah.
Wow.
I have my guitar right here, some figures. Basically my studio is my inspirations. I like to keep myself surrounded by my inspirations, because if I don't feel inspired, then I can't be creative.
Super cool. Okay, I fulfilled my obligation. I'm done now.
Like I said, people might talk. Oh, it's unprofessional. Blah, blah, blah. Don't care. Fuck you if you hate it. This is my studio. This is my crib. I love it. You're mad because your studio isn't as cool. I love y'all.
Okay. Well, hey, dude, thanks for doing this again.
Yeah,
I
of course.
appreciate it
I
a
love
lot.
you. I thank you for coming
Cool.
through and actually taking interest in my stuff. And I would love to do another one of like maybe a breakdown of one of the songs or something. Like stuff. It could be like a small 20-30 minute interview of like one of the songs on the new album when it comes out or something. We can talk
Yeah,
about
I think
it.
that'd be nice. I'd really like to see and or be a part of. No, be a part of. I don't want to be in anything, but like see you put together something. I think that'd be pretty cool too. I
Oh,
think it'd be cool
like
for
an
other
actual
people to see.
song.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I'll be down for that.
like from start to conception, like from conception to end, I should say. Like, you had this in your head, and then you come in here, and then how do you put it together? What do you do from
Right.
there? I think
Yeah.
that'd be cool. for
That
people
would
to
be
see.
really awesome to do. I would love to do that. I'm gonna talk to you outside of this about maybe starting something that we can start releasing on my music channel. Just for people to see. Yeah, be kind of
Be
cool.
fun.
Yeah.
I mean,
Peace. I love y'all. We might do a part 3. It might be a while from now, cause like I said, hold me to it. You're gonna see me everywhere, even if I'm not extremely. I might not be extremely consistent on other terms, but I'm gonna be consistent, and I might not be the most famous, but I'm gonna be everywhere.
sounds good.
Dreams to reality. Turn them to a true reality. You can do it.
Stay curious.
Hey.